that on the right setting? Yep. Okay. Do I remember how to do this? Hello, internet friends. My name is Caitlin, and welcome to my little corner of YouTube where I talk about my cross stitching. It has been 6 months since my last confession. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, thanks for sticking with me during my lengthy hiatus. It's been, 6 months. So when I last saw you, I did a Mania vlog. I had a lot of fun in Mania. So, but that was in May. So that was the last time I saw you. And since then, let's see, work got crazy. I did the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt TV show, did a movie, and I did that, and that was a lot of fun. It'll be out in spring 2020, I think, on Netflix. So if you're a fan of the show, I think you'll like the movie. We had a really good time. Had a lot of fun props. So I did that, but it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of long days, far upstate with a lot of travel. So when I was home, I didn't feel like recording. I barely felt like stitching. Not a lot happened. After that, that ended kind of mid-summer, so I went to visit my family. Had like summer holiday things were going on. After, let's see, I did record a video at the end of July, and so my laptop is old. It's like from 2011, but that's old, right? So I record straight to an external hard drive, and I recorded a nice long video, showed you guys a lot of stuff, did a giveaway, went to go edit, and my hard drive crashed. The external drive crashed. So all that footage was lost. All my previous videos are lost. All my honeymoon pictures are lost because that's the only place they were, because I'm dumb and I didn't back anything up on that drive. So it took me a little bit to get over that. Around the time I got over that, I went to retreat, Flosstube Retreat, New Jersey. That was a lot of fun. I figured I'd wait till I got home from retreat to record because I'd get a bunch of stuff and see a bunch of people. And I had a good time. I had a really good time. I met Jenna, who lives in Brooklyn. I met Candace, who's Jenna's friend, who I think they met over the internet, like over Twitch. And that might have been the first time they met in person. Maybe, I forget, but that was fun. They're both really great. I like getting to know them. We clicked pretty much right away. Debbie was there. We sat at the same table. She's always a riot. Carmen, Broadway Stitcher, was there. We took the train together in. That was a lot of fun. Brayden, who I'd met before, I got to know a little bit better. All in all, it was like a really good time. So I've kind of like been back and forth about whether or not I should talk about this, because one, it's a little personal. Two, it doesn't really have anything to do with cross stitching. And three, it makes me look like a little silly, I think. But on the off chance that some of you other introverts out there have ever felt or ever do feel the same way, I'm just gonna say it, in case it helps someone. And if not, I guess the worst thing is that you'll judge me, which is fine, because there's a little X in the corner that you can click if you're feeling judgmental. So, okay. Basically, I am a very socially awkward person, right? What you guys see here on YouTube is like a highly edited version of myself, because I can do that. I have to edit these videos a lot because I am somebody who rambles, and I'm also somebody who, like, 9 times out of 10 says the wrong thing. Like, I'm the person who, when the waiter's like, enjoy your meal, I'm like, you too. Or who, you know, like in Mean Girls, when Lindsay Lohan talks about word vomit, that's me all the time. Just saying things, or sometimes pausing awkwardly. Yeah, so basically I'm socially awkward, and I struggled a lot at retreat with, like, I had like a bout of social anxiety that I don't remember like feeling that anxious since like freshman week of college, you know? It was weird, and I had a hard time that weekend, and I was meeting like a lot of new people who I have admired for a long time. You know, I started watching Flosstube in like 2014, so over 4 years I've been watching some of these people and admiring their stitching, or listening to them talk about their lives. And when I met some of them, I was trying to convey to them my admiration, but instead I just like probably sounded like a crazy stalker. So, and you know when you like say something and you know as soon as it comes out of your mouth by the person's reaction that it was not like eloquent, or it was awkward, or it just wasn't the right thing to say, and you can tell by their reaction, and then you immediately start to feel like anxious about it, and then you replay that moment over and over in your head for the rest of the day. So I don't know, I just had like a few interactions where I said the wrong thing and I beat myself up for it, or like I hugged somebody too long, couldn't stop reliving it. So when I got home from retreat, I just really, like, I couldn't face Flosstube for a few weeks, which sounds really silly because I'm sure none of these people whose interactions I like was replaying over and over in my head even knew something had happened, or if they did, everyone else in this community is a little bit socially awkward and introverted, or not everybody, but most of us, come on. And they probably forgive me for it. But I like, for a few weeks, I couldn't face it. And you know how it is, the longer you go without making a video, the harder it is to come back. So, it's really silly, and I don't know, I just wanted to be honest about it for some reason. So I guess I'm saying I finally forgave myself. So if you are reliving that awkward thing you said to your boss on Friday over and over again all weekend, I'm giving you permission to forgive yourself for it too. Okay, so that's over with. That's out of the way. I have confessed. Let's get to the good stuff. Well, the first good thing is 6 months ago I did a giveaway for a soda stitch chart, and obviously I haven't been back to announce the winner, so I'm gonna do that now, and then after I upload this video I will comment on their comment and try and get in touch with them. I did a random comment picker, and the winner was Jasmine Ravenclaw. I'm also a Ravenclaw, but I'm also a Slytherin. I'm half and half. I can't decide. Anyway, Jasmine Ravenclaw, you are the winner of the soda stitch chart, and if you still know I exist, hopefully I will connect with you and get that in the mail to you. Okay, so it would be pretty difficult to show you everything I've bought and worked on in these past 6 months, in order. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a finish parade of everything I've finished since May, and then after I do that, I'm gonna do a whip parade. And if the video is too long, I will split it up into 2, which you already know because you've seen the icon. Okay, so I'm going to show you everything I've finished since the beginning of May. Some of these things might be in my last video. I might have finished them during my Mania blog and vlog, so you might be seeing them again. Sorry, not sorry. This is the easiest way for me to do it. So we're going to go in order. So the first thing I'm going to show you, I don't remember when I did this, but this is an FFO, and I'm going to show it to you so that I can put it in the mail tomorrow. So you'll recall at last year's Flosstube retreat 2018, Margot and I both started Plum Street Samplers. I think it was called Remember Me, Mermaid something. I forgot what it was called. You've all seen it. So I stitched them into little pillows, and I've sewn my first I've sewn my first little pillows. So I think they turned out really cute. I backed them with fabric from a Color and Cotton mystery box, and then this little pom-pom trim is from Amazon. I will send you the link. I realized after I put it on, I think that maybe this is supposed to go inside the pillow seam, not on the outside. I don't know. But it also is hiding my bad seams. So I think they turned out pretty cute. The corners aren't like super great. They're not Vana corners. There's mistakes, but put a lot of love into them. So I will send these in the mail to you, Margot, tomorrow. Okay. So the first thing I finished, this was a Mania Start. I think it was by the Primitive Stitcher. It's called Use It Up. Use it up, wear it out, make do or do without, which is kind of a family motto of my husband's. It's stitched on 28 count dark teal green cashel linen, a scrap that I got, I think, at last year's Flosstube retreat. And this is Dinky Dye's, like, an oops pack. The colorway I think is Dragonfly, but because it's an oops pack, I'm not sure if that's accurate to what Dragonfly looks like. And then this light purple is from a Silks for You bits bag. So again, I don't know what color it is, but it's cute. I have to do something with that. That goes back into the bag of shame. Next, I finished this Mill Hill kit. This was also a Mania Start. This little Smores Ornament, super cute. This also goes in to the bag of shame. Next, I actually FFO'd this. This is Soda Stitch's little pizza shop. They call it a cell phone fob. It's not. I mean, it's too big for a cell phone, but I'm going to hang it like an ornament on the tree. So I stitched this on Ada. There we go. It's the front door. It's the side where you can sit to eat your pizza. That's the back where the delivery guy parks his Vespa. There's another little bench you can sit to eat your pizza on. So I stitched this on Ada, and when you FFO it kind of like a Biscornu where you whip stitch along the sides. You'll see mine's a little wonky. I cut too close to the edge when I cut this out. And so as I was stitching the roof on, my back stitching was starting to unravel. So I ended up having to like glue along this edge to try and keep it together and just really stitch it really fast. And it's not as stuffed or as square as I would like it to be. Oops. But it's still pretty cute, and I might stitch this again in the future. I feel like this is a good gift for like a Christmas ornament for fellow New Yorkers. It was like only a few colors. It was a lot of fun. It was a really quick stitch. And, you know, buildings in New York are super crooked anyway, so it's okay that my pizza shop is crooked because it's a New York pizza shop. So the floor's probably slanted. Okay. Next, another Mill Hill kit. This black cat looks like my cat, Bagheera, who, by the way, in this whole time I've been gone, we have had some crazy vet issues. Both of our cats had to get dental. Bagheera had all of his teeth, almost all of his teeth removed. He only has 2 teeth left in his whole mouth. He still eats dry food like a champ. Obviously we give him wet food too, but the dry food is out as an option and he eats it. Elliot had an eye infection and we had to give him 3 times a day. We had to give him an oral antibiotic in his mouth, and not like a little bit, like a syringe this big full of antibiotic in his mouth. And we had to put a gel on his eyeball. Like, my cats are good cats, but holy cow. The vet was like, it'll be easy, no problem. And I'm like, you're clearly not a cat person, because trying to give cats liquid, like, medication and gel on their eyeballs, I felt so bad for them. And also I felt bad for me because I was getting scratched to pieces. Anyway, here's a portrait of beads. A beaded portrait of my dear spooky toothless cat. Okay, next I finished, I think this is by the Nebby Needle design, or Noteworthy Needle design. I will write it below. I have a notebook somewhere that has all my information about all of my whips, like, and every cross stitch project I finished since I started cross stitching 5 years ago. And I couldn't find it today, so normally I have like information about floss and linen, but I don't have it for all these things. And if you want to know something specific, email me, because I'll probably find that notebook as soon as I stop filming this video, because that's how things go. Anyway, it's called Beautiful. This was also a Mania Start. It's pretty, right? So the bee is Weeks Dye Works Coal. The gold color is from a Dinky Dyes Oops pack, and it was labeled as Aussie Gold, but again, I don't know if that's the real color. And then the orange color was also Dinky Dyes Oops, and it was labeled Canandra. But I think that is really off and not what that color normally looks like. Ooh, her light is changing really fast. So again, I'm not sure if those are accurate representations of those colors, but looks pretty, right? I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. I need to get this in a frame. Another Mania Start. This is by the Bay Needle Arts, Funky Flowers. This is Hannah. Look how pretty that is. This is stitched 1/2 on 40 count color and cotton in the colorway Tea Leaves. Really pretty. I love this. Another Mania Start. A Mill Hill Golden Sun is the name of this kit. It's really pretty. There's a lot of beads in there. There's also a lot of mistakes in there because there's so many beads that I started losing track of it where I was. Whatever, it looks pretty. I need to back this and put a hanger on it so I can hang it up in my living room, so I have something pretty to look at during the gray, cold, dark winter, which is upon us already. Okay, I think this was also a Mania Start. This is Horsering Around by Little House Needleworks. This is 36 count vintage country mocha. I did not use the called for colors. I used color and cotton. Let's see, I think this is Evergreen. The brown is the called for DMC. The red was from a color and cotton mystery box. The horse was charted as brown, but I'm hopefully going to finish this in time to give it to my mom for Christmas, and her horse is gray. So I made the horse gray. And the white is B5200. 2/2. Okay, I have a couple your whips finishes to show you. So first of all, I have Cross Stitch Nation. This is super wrinkled. And I color converted the skin tones and chose my own colors for the skin tones and hair. There we go. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really need to get this in a frame. If you're interested in knowing the skin tones, leave a comment and I will list what they are. This was also a Year of Whip. This was from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. I forget which issue, probably like a June or July issue. It was just called Hibiscus Towel Band. Holy cow. It goes across the whole, bottom of this towel. This is one of those towels from, it was from Joann's Fabric. You know, you can usually get them in the embroidery section. I think you're really supposed to embroider on them and not cross stitch. They're not, the weave is not even. It is not an even weave. I used the sulky threads for this. The ones that come in like a multi-pack. I used the pink, the yellow, and the blue. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I like the coverage of the threads, but I don't like how they're rounded, so they don't lay flat, right? So I'm not a super huge fan of the overall look. Also, I will never in my life stitch a dish towel again. I started this several years ago as like a beach project. It took eternity. It got very repetitive. It got frustrating working on an uneven weave, and I don't want to let my husband use it to dry dishes because it took me eternity. So never again will I stitch a towel. Next, I don't remember if this was a Mania Start or if this was a Just Because Start. This was, I forgot the name of this designer. I'll put it somewhere here. There was no name on the design. I have just referred to it as sunflowers. There we go. Pretty. I pulled my own colors. So this is Color and Cotton Hot Cocoa. This is the called for DMC 735, I think, 745. The green is Color and Cotton Evergreen, and the white is Color and Cotton Eggnog. And the black is actually not a black, it's a very dark blue DMC. I don't recall the color number. This is stitched 2/2 on, I think this is 36 count. It's either 20, this is probably 28 count, right? 28 count Lugana in the colorway. It's one of the printed Zweigarts. I think it's Storm, Vintage Storm. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Almost done. Next, another Mania Start, another Mill Hill kit. Gingerbread house. This one had a lot of beads too. I really struggle with the Mill Hill kits on the brown paper that use a lot of white, because I feel like no matter what you do, the paper discolors the white thread. And then, you know, obviously you can't wash them, but B5200 just isn't, it's not as bright as it should be because the paper discolors the white. Maybe I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm crazy, or if you think the same thing about your Mill Hill kits. Okay, and second to last, the next thing I finished. So Candy did a Harry Potter cross-stitch exchange. I'm putting this in the mail tomorrow. A lot of people have got theirs already. I thought the mail date was November 13th, but I guess that was just like the last day you were supposed to mail. So I was waiting, but I'm gonna put it in the mail tomorrow, one day early. So we were supposed to stitch like something about 4x6 and FFO it. Some people have gone bigger. I didn't have time to go bigger. hope my person I'm exchanging with is okay with it. I decided to do a needle book. And if you're going to do a needle book, why not a textbook? Why not Hermione's favorite textbook? So this motif is from what's called the Wizard Sampler. The pattern is from Etsy. I will link it below, and I will list the name of the designer somewhere here. I think it's got, I don't know where the designer is from, but it's got that very Ukrainian look, and you know, there's a lot of blends, a lot of back stitching. I think it turned out really, really well, that sorting hat. I'm really happy with it. On the back of the textbook, little mandrake, and then Trevor sitting on a book. They did not turn out as well as the sorting hat did. Inside, I got this fabric patch from Etsy, little pocket, some felt, some needle minders in there for her, and then another pocket on the back with the Hogwarts quest. So that turned out pretty well. This went a lot faster than the last needle book I made. Oh, that's something else I finished, which I don't have here. I participated in the exchange at the New Jersey Cross Stitch Retreat, and I made a needle book for that. It was from the Gift of Stitching magazine, and it was called Mermaid Needle Book. So I recorded a video of that needle book, of the finished stitching and of the needle book after I put it together on my iPhone, so I will insert that here. So this is the Mermaid's jewel case from the Gift of Stitching magazine, which was a digital magazine. This is issue 43 from August 2009. So I'm going to insert a picture of what the model stitch looks like, and you'll see some differences. So first of all, I stitched this on, I think this is 32 count linen Picture This Plus in the colorway Arctic, which is really the perfect watercolor. It's nighttime right now, so you can't see as well, but there's like some light seafoam green modeling going on in here. It's just really beautiful. But if I had have realized when I was kitting up for this project that the entire thing, with the exception of this outside border here, is done 1/2, everything else is 1/1. So if I had have realized that, I would have purchased an even weave for this project, because even though this linen is beautiful, a lot of my stitches, when you get in close, some of them are kind of lumpy and uneven. Like 1/1 on linen, it's just not as even, right? That's why it's called linen and not, well, that's not why it's called linen, but that's why even weave is called even weave, I guess, maybe. So that's something. So in terms of things I changed, so this outside border and this border all the way around, and then these waves were all supposed to be done in a color, I don't have the color list with me, but it was supposed to be done in a overdyed thread, which seems to no longer exist. I'll write the name of the screen here of the color it called for, but when I Googled it, nothing came up, so I just picked a DMC color that worked well with my fabric. The other thing is, there's 5 mermaids in this piece. They're all charted in this Caucasian skin tone. So I changed 2 of them to darker skin tone, and I should have brought my threads down with me to record this, but I'll again list the DMC number I used here for the darker skin tone. They're also, all these mermaids are supposed to be carrying mirrors and combs. All of them are supposed to have mirrors and combs, just like here. So the mirrors have a little bit of Kreinik in them, and then it's hard to tell, but these are, those are supposed to be combs, like they're combing their hair. I thought, I mean, it's cute, but it was kind of odd for them all to be holding those. So I decided these mermaids here are getting ready. These mermaids are getting ready for the Flosstube retreat. They're doing their hair. They're checking the back of their hair here to make sure it looks good, and they're combing it. These mermaids over here, they are they're already at the retreat and they're partying and they're dancing. They're dancing the Macarena. That's why their arms are out like this. So that's what I decided. It was partially because I thought it looked odd and partially out of laziness. Also, there are supposed to be birds up here. I didn't love the look of them, and also I was running short on time, and they use like 3 different colors, and I was lazy, so I didn't put the birds in up here, and I think it looks fine. I think it looks better actually. So there's that. Also, you'll notice on the model stitch, all these fish have eyes that are the same color, but in the chart, all their eyes are charted a different color. And these little fish are supposed to have French knot eyeballs. Not bothering with that. No way. Also, some of these fish, there are some colors called for in some of these fish for their eyeballs, and that was the only place the color was used in the whole design. So I just didn't use those colors. There's also like 6 different yellows used in this design. Every crown is a different shade of yellow. You'll see over here, this is meant to be a pocket for scissors. That's why it's so far away from everything else, because I think it needed a bigger margin. This is 5 different shades of yellow in the jellyfish. That's unnecessary. I think if you have this chart and you want to do it, you can probably use 1 or 2 shades of yellow and be fine. Maybe 3 because of the blonde mermaids. That's what I think. Same with the blue. I mean, there's another color of green called for similar to this green, very close. I just didn't use it. This is 995 and this is 38 something. No, the 995, 38, 15 or something. They're fairly similar. I mean, they look different enough side by side, but they're fairly similar. Again, you can simplify it and skip that color. So I think if you were to do this chart, you could really cut down on the amount of colors you need, and you wouldn't really lose a lot. Another thing you'll see on the model stitch has a little man on this boat. That's not in the chart. It's not, which I'm fine with, because he was as tall as the mast, and it was weird. Like, that's a weird proportion for him to be either a giant man or a tiny boat. So I'm fine, but I thought that was weird that he was in the photo of the finished stitch in the magazine and not in the chart. Now I'm gonna have to cut out all these grid lines and throw this in a bath. And then tomorrow, oh, that's the other thing. So you're also supposed to stitch basically these same outlines, or 3 panels of this outline directly below here with a margin, and then cut out those and that's the inside, and you whip stitch that to this, because there's also supposed to be a back stitch around. I'm not doing that. I bought some coordinating quilting fabric. I'm going to machine sew an inside and coordinating quilting fabric. I'm going to add this stitch scissor pocket, and I'm going to do some coordinating pocket insert type things on the inside. Again, I didn't think it added anything to the piece, and laziness. Like, why would I hand sew, like stitch all this again, basically the outline all again, and then hand sew it when I have a sewing machine? So in any case, I'm gonna go cut out these grid lines. So I will do a video tomorrow, either while or after I'm assembling this. I've never put together a needle case before, so it's going to be interesting. It might turn out horrible. My contingency plan, if it turns out horrible, is ignore this piece and this becomes a pillow. That's my contingency plan. It's probably not enough of a margin there for it to become a pillow, right? Whatever. This is going to be given at the Smalls Exchange in some form or other. So, okay, so it is Sunday morning. It's about 9:30. I've been at this since 6:30. So what I've done is all the grid lines are out. We've had a bath. We've had an iron. I have roughed in because I was worried about the fold lines. So I've roughed in and kind of pinned how I want this to go, very sloppy. Obviously, this will be straighter. But I kind of wanted to rough in because I was worried about where the folds were going to go. So pocket's going to go here. These thread rings are going to get attached up here. That'll probably be one of the last things I do, or I don't know. I don't know at what point in this process I should do that. And then like some felt with a little bit of fabric behind it's going to go here. And then this is the scissor pocket, which will fit some scissors. So that's going to be it. But this is going to be a challenge for me because I've sewn things together like napkins and stuff and pillowcases, but I haven't had to sew things like I could sew this backing to this front, no problem, but first I have to attach these pockets, and I want to make sure I do that in a way that it will look straight when I attach this back to the front. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm realizing I should have allowed myself more margin on the edges for error, so that if things were crooked, I could cut it down. But I think it's going to be okay. So I'm going to struggle through this, and I will show you the finished project. Okay, I'm not even going to tell you what time it is and how long it took me to do this, but I'm just going to say we got our, my house was super clean yesterday, and now it's a wreck again because there's fabric and thread everywhere. Okay, so in any case, I am finished, and I am pretty jazzed with how it turned out. It's definitely not perfect. The corners are not perfect. It's a little wonky in some places, but I think overall it looks pretty good, and I hope the recipient will enjoy it. And if they're not into how wonky it is, well, that's too bad for them. So I have a ribbon to close it here. Just like a little awkward. The instructions for attaching the ribbon weren't great. And then I put this pocket on the inside for whatever. It's a little crooked, but whatever. I have some thread rings in here. I have this scissor pocket. So this little pocket gave me a lot of trouble. It kept, first of all, the instruction said to give it a 1-inch margin, and that is not enough. I cut it to a 1-inch margin, and then either it wasn't enough, or I'm sorry, it's at a 1/2-inch margin. That's not enough. You need more like a 1-inch margin. So I cut it too small to begin with, and then I was like sewing it and ripping it, sewing it and ripping it, sewing it and ripping it, and eventually it got so frayed around the edges that there was like no more room for a seam. So I freaked out, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to restitch this thing, and I went to my stitchy spot and I started stitching, and then I was like, you know what, maybe I can make it work. So I just cut it down basically right to the edge of the stitching, frayed it a little bit, and then sewed it on as like a postage stamp style patch. I don't know. It looks okay. This is a handmade item, so it's fine. I'm hoping that the fish themed scissors will make up for the this like crooked patch. Don't look at it too closely. Some felt here, of course, for your needles and pins, and then some more thread drops. So I think all in all it turned out pretty good. Pretty straight. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. So back to your regular scheduled programming. The cool thing about the Mermaid needle book is that Candace was the one who won my small. So that was really exciting because I put a lot of work into it, and it's fun to do an exchange and have a stranger win your gift, but it's like extra fun when it's somebody who you consider a friend. Because even though I only met her the day before, I already considered her a friend by the time she won it. So yeah. So, okay, so I have one more finish to show you. I finished this morning. Also a Mania Start. I did pretty good about finishing most of the things I started in Mania. This is Prairie Schooler, Bear and the Bees. I love this. These, the little bees were a pain in the butt. I stitched most of them separately and tried not to carry any threads. Super cute. I don't know if this has a future as a pillow or on the wall. Okay, so that is everything I finished in the past 6 months. Pretty good, right? I finished more than half of the things I started in Mania. I know a lot of them are smalls, so they're not like a huge deal, but I was definitely feeling overwhelmed after Mania and was trying to just focus on finishing the smallest things first so I could get them off my plate. So I'm pretty happy with that. You know, we're coming to the end of the year and I'm kind of evaluating what I've completed versus, you know, the goals I made in January. And even though I have not achieved a lot of my crafting goals, I think I've finished a pretty solid number of things this year, including everything I just showed you. So I'm going to pause this video, save it, and post it as one video, and then I'm going to record a whip parade, but you're going to see that as a separate video. I just think this is already a little long. Hopefully, I will see you in a few minutes with the whip parade. If not, take care and I'll see you next time. Bye.